I got Lucas McGill here. Tommy Lepore here from Blue Springs South. Brett Norfleet.
Hello, everyone. Welcome inside the Red Earth Production Studios for this edition of YBMcast, Prep Baseball Talk, powered by Game 7 Baseball, Game7Baseball.com. We got a great weekend coming up. Hopefully the weather, I think the weather's going to be good. We're going to be out at the 42 Classic. I love this one. This is, I think, one of the coolest names of a tournament, 42 Classic. It's on the weekend. Jackie Robinson Day is on the 15th. Love Jackie Robinson. And Kevin hit me with the big trivia question last week about Jackie Robinson. And as always, the guru stopping in from Prep Baseball Report. Kevin Moulder, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well, and you aced the question. You got it right.
You know, that's one of the things I think if I would have taken all my tests in high school and they were sports, I think I'd have been okay. One of those things, right? I always tell my wife I'm a plethora of useless information. So, but we got some good stuff for you today, folks. A lot going on in the baseball community around the state, and but first, we want to say thank you to all our subscribers. We had 1,000 subscribers this past week. We've got we did our giveaway on the show yesterday. Tracy DeMario was the winner of the bucket of baseballs, the fungo, and the hitting net. So, Tracy, if you haven't heard yet, there you go. Come check, shoot us an email. You can catch it. Go to the youthbaseballmidwest.com. Shoot us an email. We'll get it set up to get you the prizes. There we go. 1,000 subscribers, man. That's pretty
deal.
Good.
Congratulations.
Right. Now, I think you've been a great part of that, Kevin, and helping us and all you do coming on the show and talking baseball with us. We appreciate your support with this, man. Really do.
Love doing it.
And we want to start off real quick. Came out on Twitter on April 10th, Bob Donahue retiring. That's big, isn't it?
Yeah, congratulations, Coach Donahue. He's had a long, great career in high school baseball, and sad to see him go, but at the same time, we're celebrating, and one of the longtime greats in the St. Louis area.
From 1986 to 2023, that's a long career. That's think
about how many lives he's impacted, how many players have come through that system, and it's a lot of years, a lot of games under his belt.
And does part of that freshman tournament or a freshman camp that they've done every year. That's where I first met him, was out at the freshman camp. We went out, took the cameras out there and talked to him the first time. He's a fun guy to talk to. He's not short of stories.
No, well, you've been doing it that long. You're going to have your fair share of stories.
So congrats on the great career, Coach Donahue, and we wish you well in retirement. And, maybe we'll get him on the show and let him tell some stories, right, Kevin?
You could probably do a week's worth of content with if you get him in and just let him go, have him tell us stories.
Be fun, right? I think it would.
Yes.
we opened up in 2019, and basically there was a void in the area. I mean, we saw that there was an opportunity to have a retail store where people could come in and actually touch and feel the tangible object that they're buying.
So, next on the agenda here, I want to, because we're gonna talk here next. There's a post came up from Prep Baseball Report I want to get into, and then we're gonna talk some GAC, and then look at some of the other teams from around the state. But first, I want to. You guys posted, Kevin, March's most viewed profiles. Some interesting names popped up, and the one at number one, the sophomore Evan DeMario, from Rockhurst High School, most viewed profiles. Is he committed yet? He is committed to Mizzou, isn't he?
Committed to Missouri, yes.
Talk to us a little bit about, when you guys post this most viewed profiles, what are guys going here? I'm sure there's some, it's just friends and family and things of that. I'm sure there's some of that way. Well, no, because this is on PBR, right? So is this scouts? What's the process within this?
So yeah, those are always interesting to take a glance at. Kind of depends on the time of the year that we're in. Usually it revolves around a player having a big game or a big event, or something coming up, like signing date or the MLB draft, or a kid commits to a school, or, does something substantial on the baseball field that generates a lot of interest. Or just has a really big following. Apparently, Evan's a popular guy. He is a really good player over at Rockhurst and good kid. And, so he was our most viewed profile of the month. And honestly, that's something that I don't even do. Someone, our back office puts together that story. Anything that has to do with, they're looking at. I'm having trouble finding my thought here on that. They're the analytics of our website. That is done by a home office team there, and they put out a story on that.
Gotcha. And that's you're talking, and then I love the fact you got Evan DeMario, Riker Benz, Colin Kelly, Jordan Martin in Jeff City, all sophomores. Brendan Pyle is number 6, a freshman. So there's a lot of young guys, and that makes sense to me because those are the guys that are still within that framework. You got the seniors and Pogenpole, Hatchman, Zenatello.
So another one would be, like Brendan Pyle's a great example. There's a freshman on varsity. So if you're Coach Perkins over at Francis Howell, and you're about to play Zumwalt East, you have no clue who this kid is. He's a freshman. He's on varsity. So you go to PBR and pull up his profile, and you can watch him take some swings. You can, see can he run, his 60 time, his throwing, velocities, his exit velo. You get a general idea of what you're dealing with. So sometimes this time of year, you'll see some of the younger kids, players' profiles pop up a little more often because they just haven't been seen by the varsity coaches, and they'll, pop up and kind of pull up their profile and see what they're dealing with.
It's funny you say that, and I don't know why I didn't think about it, but it makes perfect sense. A little scouting opportunity, right? Wow. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. Why wouldn't you in that respect if the information is available? Because you know as well as I do, I've been looking because we're with the GAC, we have the information. We're working a little bit, but I'm trying to get to the other side of the state and find out where the standings are for the KC the Suburban Kansas City Association, and I haven't found it yet. I'm sure somebody has it somewhere.
It does make you appreciate the great job the St. Louis Post-Dispatch does with our high school athletics. It is very easy to find the St. Louis schedule, stats, so in all sports. So it's, we're certainly fortunate in the St. Louis area, but it's a little tougher in some of the other areas of the state.
And two, they make it available, but it's up to the coaches to put this information in, to take the time to do it. And I think it shows a lot of care, for lack of, I guess, a better way to put it, by the coaches and their investment in the players, in the game, in the whole process, right?
100%. And I've been on all sides of this. Obviously, in the role I'm in now, I use it all the time. As a Division I coach, I had people put those in for me, SIDs, and put our stats in. But when I coached junior college, I was the guy that usually put our stats in, and I was religious about it. It almost got to the a bad point. But like as soon as we finished the game, and I'd get home and I would be punching in our stats right then, just because I knew how important it was for our guys' recruitment and, not just scouts and colleges going to look at it, but parents and friends. And that stuff was really important to me because I knew it was important to the players and the families. And so, credit to the coaches as well for being so on top of this.
I think, and that's the thing. And, kudos, shout out to STL High School Sports, the Post-Dispatch, given those opportunities, they create that, and then the coaches doing that. This is great. And like you said, it gives us this space. I'm looking at stats. I was looking at things before we started the show today. And, when we went in yesterday to do the GAC Game of the Week, I'm pulling all the stats off from STL High School Sports, providing it to our play-by-play guys, our analysts, as yourself, and you come to the game, you have the stats in front of you. It's so much easier to call a game and to really talk intelligently about somebody when it's in front of you.
Absolutely. And even if you know the players, I mean, it's nice having those stats available. And it is a nice luxury for St. Louis baseball fans to have access to those. Absolutely.
Let's take a look real quick. You updated, this week, you have the large school updated top 10. Blue Springs, number 1. I'm sorry, Blue Springs South. Pardon me.
Yes, you're going to get yourself in trouble there, Brian. That'd be like calling, Francis Howell Central Francis Howell. I mean, that's...
You just don't do that.
But yeah, big week. We got number 1 versus number 2 over in Kansas City this week. Blue Springs South versus Liberty North at the end of the week. So they're in the same conference. They got a series this weekend, so it's going to be fun. This is going to be a fun week of baseball, just in general. A lot of the Columbia tournaments this week, and I know I'm getting off subject here.
No, you're fine.
Conversation, but that just brought to mind, since we have number 1 versus number 2. Then we got the Columbia tournament that's going to have a ton of great teams and a lot of teams ranked in our top 10 or on the on-deck portion of our rankings. And, there's going to be some really good teams collecting some losses this week just because there's going to be so much great competition. So it's going to be a fun week to follow.
Absolutely. Vianney snuck in the top 10 there. Well, I shouldn't. I would say snuck in. I don't think anybody was looking at them being 12-1 at this point. Although this week their first game they tied Chaminade. So that was interesting. So they got a tie on their record from this week. That was an interesting one. It must have been I think it was at Chaminade, so darkness must have played a role in that.
Darkness, yeah, and it could have been, yeah. Neither of the Vianney has lights, but can't use their lights. So it's. I
believe it was at Chaminade, though.
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah.
And to your point, Kevin, you're going to see quite a few of these teams in that Columbia tournament, correct? I think Francis Howell and Somewhat West will both be over there from the GAC.
Yes, Bailey will be over there. Willard will be over there. Rockbridge is going to be there. Battle, Hickman, Sedalia's in this tournament. So yeah, it's a loaded tournament.
So through the first, we're in week 4. Any surprises? Anything that just pops out with these bigger schools to you?
Yeah, I'll start with some of the positive surprises. You mentioned one, Vianney has done extremely well, getting off to a great start. Be interesting to continue to track them, but they look like a really good team, and they've had some young pitchers step up and kind of help. Senior Danny Lindsay, who's kind of at the front of that rotation there, and then they got some more power type arms that are younger that are doing a great job, and they've ripped off a bunch of wins and are off to a great start. So that would be one. To be honest with you, Zumwalt West, and it's hard to kind of say surprised because they're always there. They're all. Yeah, they've been good and they're always good, but you look at, they lost a lot at the same time, and they have it's almost like they haven't missed a beat. So they keep churning out wins and stubbed their toe last night, but that's going to happen, from time to time throughout the season. So those would be a couple of the, some of the positive surprises, I would say. Webster Groves would be another one, and they're not, one of the top 5 best teams in the state, but they're performing really well. They're doing well. So there's a number of great stories out there with teams getting off to good starts.
Kevin, you've made mention on a number of occasions, and I think this is where you see, you go, we're surprised, but we're not. I don't think we expected 13-1 with Zumwalt West. But when you talk about, you've said it, and you've said it and said it. You talk about program, a coach that can go in and effectively, I think, create what they're looking for and create that mindset at all levels, and coaches are all on the same page. That's not an easy thing to do at any level, is it?
No, it's not. And those are the programs that you see that are successful the most. And, clearly they have a strong freshman and sophomore team. So what happens is if you're successful at those younger levels, when it's their turn to come up, and I'm sure they teach and coach the kids, those players at those levels very similarly, if not the exact same as their varsity players. And when it's their turn to go in, when they get called up, they're ready to go and know what to expect. And it's year after year. It's not, hey, there's a wave of super talented juniors and seniors this year, and then when they graduate, they return to the norm type thing. They're always, they maintain a high level of success, and speaks to the level of coaching that has gone on in that program.
Because we all know you need talent. Everybody knows talent has to be in the program, but if you don't know how to coach the talent, that's where the balance of these things, in my estimation, always comes to. And I always love the fact that you referred to the program, because that is a balance of coaching and talent.
And typically what happens is, you'll see a team that has, or a program that's highly successful with or without talent. But when they get the talent, that's when they make the run through the state championship, maybe win it or go to the Final Four. But when they don't quite have that talent, they're still churning out wins. They're super competitive. Maybe they fall short in a district championship or a sectional game, and just run into, because at the end of the day, talent wins. You have to have quality players, and if you run into a stud pitcher, that's going to happen. Those guys are going to win in postseason. That's why they get those big contracts in the big leagues. You got to have the talent, especially on the mound. In the larger school, Missouri playoffs, you get to the state playoffs, the Final Four, it's a guarantee you're going to see big time arms starting those first couple games, the semifinal games for those in the 5A and 6A especially.
The small schools, not much has changed. Maybe a couple of placements of teams here and there, but for the most part, Valley Catholic kind of stands out a little bit. They're up into the top 10, but everybody else looks pretty much the same.
Yeah, there hadn't been a ton of movement in the small school. I am excited. I am going to see Valley Catholic today versus Jeff City. So it'll be a first look at Valley Catholic this year, and Jeff City's having a strong year. I believe they're 9-5 right now. They have a couple really strong younger players. Jordan Martin's one of the better players in the sophomore class, committed to Arkansas. He's going to be on the mound today, so I'm fired up to see him. And they have a couple other good players. Eli Miller is a sophomore over at Jeff City. So Jeff City's a strong program. We've seen, 2 years ago they were in the Final Four. They've won some state championships over the past decade or so. So, they got a good young group, and it's going to be fun to get a look at them today as well.
I would be remiss. I want to go back to the large schools just for a moment because of Nixa and Glendale, because I want to make sure we talk about these two programs and keep them in focus, because I think these are both teams that are going to be there at the end, right?
They're going to have a good chance to be, yes. Nixa is one of the more talented teams in the state, so yeah, they're rolling. And Glendale's a new team into the rankings. They got a lot of talent. Sebastian Norman is down there, also one of the top sophomores, heading to Oklahoma State. So these guys are in there for a reason. They're good ball clubs and have really good players.
And you got the senior, and I think he plays shortstop, is Brooks Kettering. We've talked about him.
Brooks Kettering heading to SEMO, really gritty player, hard-nosed player. Like I said, there's a reason they find themselves in the top 10.
And I think so. I think Glendale's got a really nice team. They're looking good. So I want to keep our eye on that Southwest, because I think that's going to be a fun one to pay attention to. Those teams are in the mix.
Another team to call out would be Eureka. Is off to a phenomenal start. They're undefeated. They're winning a lot of games. Have very good players. That's going to be another team to keep your eye on. They're in a very tough district, so they're going to be a handful and a team to be reckoned with.
Very good. We could just pick, because you can't forget Coach McGee down there with Willard, challenging his team. So it's going to be interesting how everything continues. And as you said, Kevin, you might see one of these teams with 10 to 12 losses just because of the level of competition.
100%, yes. That Columbia tournament's a meat grinder. We've seen really good teams go 1-4, 0-5, 2-3 certainly in that tournament, and then turn around and make a run to the Final Four. So, it's a fun week, and the tricky thing about this tournament is it's generally won with the bats because these teams are coming off a conference. During the week, and then they'll go into the weekend. You'll often get to see some younger pitchers called up to the varsity and get their first action. I remember last year watching Alex Bryant throw a shutout for Francis Howell in his first varsity action in this tournament. So you'll get to see some guys that aren't necessarily the frontline pitchers, especially for the bigger schools.
Yeah. Now, switching a little over here a little bit to the GAC. I want to first give a shout out, big congrats to Zumwalt South for winning the Midwest Classic. That's not an easy tournament to win, and to me, we talked to. I had them in the power rankings. I didn't see them. They're in first place right now in the Central. They're playing good baseball, and to win the Midwest Classic is no easy feat.
Oh, congratulations to them. I would have thought it was a tie between them and Mother Nature winning the Midwest Classic.
It was a little tough. We'll get, but hey, that's the way it goes, right?
That's right.
You take it. But congrats to them, and I think it's always interesting as we talked about the GAC standings this week. We had some flip-flops here, Kevin. Holt, who we thought, still can, don't get me wrong, but they're struggling out of the gate. They're giving up runs. It's kind of interesting watching how they're struggling. On the other side, you got Washington pushing up, but I thought Washington was going to be that team that could surprise folks. I think Dane Goff's doing a good job, and they have talent on that team.
Yeah, and they opened up with a series sweep of Zumwalt East last week, so Washington's off to a great start.
Absolutely, and then you've got in the GAC North, North Point, 7-2.
How about that?
Right? We get to see them in 2 weeks. Actually, it's a week from this Friday. This Friday. We've got our Friday night lights. Our first one is at St. Charles West with Pattonville and St. Charles West. That's this Friday. So remember, folks, if you want to watch some good baseball, tune in to our Friday night lights game this week with St. Charles West Warriors and Pattonville. But the following, we're going to be out at Troy. We get to go out to see their new field out at Troy Buchanan. They're hosting North Point Grizzlies. I'm looking forward to that one.
That'll be fun. Yeah, and congrats to North Point. New money. So it's they're off to a hot start, and that like we've talked about a number of times, it's going to be fun to watch them grow. And they still don't have their full set of classes in that high school yet from a grade standpoint. So I'm sure they're going to be a force to be reckoned with here in years to come.
Absolutely. St. Charles West is off to, they're right in there. They're still in there. Warrenton. It's pretty much the other one, Coach Stokes over at Winfield. They're off to a pretty good start. They won again this week. It'll be interesting to watch Winfield and how they continue to grow as a team. I think that one's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I'm going to pull this up real quick. Hang on, Kevin. But I don't know how much you know right now about those guys and what's going on over there.
I've yet to make my way there this spring, so
we are going to have Winfield next week. Public service announcement here, folks. Where are they at? There it is. I found it. Public service announcement. Next week, we won't have any of our podcasts on for the fact that we are going to be covering the GAC Classic all next week. Carshield Field starting at 9:00. We'll have the schedule out, and then we'll have our GAC game of the week at 2:00 at Carshield Field next week. That'll be Francis Howell Central and Francis Howell. So we'll have that, and then Wednesday we're going to cover those games again. We're going to go back out. We're just going to live stream. That's what our week's going to be next week. We're just going to cover the GAC Classic, have some fun calling some baseball. Why not? I got nothing better to do.
Sounds like a great couple days.
Right? That's the way we roll. That's the way we roll around here, Kevin. Winfield is off to a good start. They're 5-2. They beat Orchard Farm 12-0 the other day. Bowling Green 9-4 win. They beat Warrenton 8-1, or they lost to Warrenton 8-1 and won 2-1. So they split with Warrenton. They've beat St. Charles West. They split with St. Charles West 6-5 loss and a 6-3 win. So, they're competing. We had Coach Stokes on the preview show. I saw him out at the ballpark. Nice young guy. I like him a lot, and so I congrats to those guys for a really good start. The GAC North, South, GAC Game of the Week. I know you were not able to be there with us. We had another pitching matchup. Adam Hatchman didn't have the outing he really wanted. Lane Harris pitched very well. We had Carson Ramos hit a 2-run bomb go-ahead 2-run bomb in the top of the 7th inning to propel Timberland, and not to leave out Cole Evans. Cole Evans came in for Adam Hatchman in the 2nd inning and shut down Francis South Central. Gave up 1 run after that. He pitched very well, and I'll tell you, and they finally got to Harris. He walked 3 to start the 5th in the 5th inning, and they knocked him out and opened the floodgates a little bit there, and Timberland got the win. So 2 really good teams, and it was just a lot of fun.
A thriller.
It was. It really was. The fans, great turnout for the ball game and watching these kids. And you've talked about Carson Ramos quite a bit and the upside, only a sophomore, and in that big moment taking that opportunity.
Yeah, Carson's one of the top catchers in the sophomore class, and right now playing mostly third base. I wasn't at the game, but that's where he seems to be slotted most of the time for them. But you'll see him move back behind the plate when Michaela moves off to Christian Brothers University in Memphis after this season. So he'll move back there then. But yeah, one of the top sophomores, and he's a big strong kid. That game we did a week ago, he squared a number of balls up to dead center and got a couple hits, and so not surprising at all to hear him run into a big home run yesterday.
And it was big. I mean, you knew it off the bat. In high school sometimes it depends, and you're like, the ball kind of carried that one, or the wind kind of carried. No, I mean, he got a fastball up in the zone, and he put a great swing on it, right center. And Howell Central's a big park.
Yes, it is.
It's a big park, and he hit it right center, and it was just no doubt. Everybody, when you heard it off the bat, you're like, oh, that's gone.
This is a Norfleet Bogenpool type homer is what you're saying?
Yes. I mean, it sounded like it too. You're just like, oh my gosh. Because we got the call. I don't know if you got a chance to see the highlights. We had the highlights in with the interview, and Mike Morgan, when he's calling that, Mike does a great job, and I appreciate Mike Morgan calls these games so well, and Mike goes, that ball is crushed just right off the bat. You could hear it. It's one of those swings, man. So that was a lot of fun. Timberland, that's 5 in a row now. Since that tournament, they're
rolling. Yeah,
they're starting. And you got Yarberry there. They got Cole Evans, like I said, pitched well. You still have Richie Swain in that. They've got the pitching staff.
And today will be a big day. Should be another good matchup. I'm assuming it'll be Rubel and Yarberry
Yeah,
going at it. You would assume.
I would assume.
So yeah, Rubel the lefty going to Maryville University, and Yarberry the righty going to St. Louis U. So it should be another barn burner today. You would imagine.
And then on top of that, a couple of the Titans fell. West went down to Hal North, 3-1, and Francis Hal lost to Troy Buchanan 11-4. And so, there you go. As you've always said, this was the week that maybe you might see some losses.
Yeah, a lot of games for these teams this week, and the thing about being a Howell or a Zumwalt West, or really one of any of the teams that gets a lot of attention, uh, how that works is the team that shows up to play you every day is going to give you the best shot.
Right.
It's a huge game for them. They got that game circled. They're looking forward to it. So you're going to get everyone's best shot. And if you have an off night, they're going to make you pay. And it sounds like that kind of happened to both those guys last night. And it's the sport of baseball. You're gonna drop a game here or there. Credit to Troy and credit to Hal North on those big wins.
Absolutely. And, just from that, some Class 6 scores. I mean, Jackson, they rolled over Cape Girardeau Central High School in Cape Girardeau 16-0. But I like some of these other scores here. You see Marquette just out-hit Lafayette 12-10. Zumwalt East got back on the winning track over Liberty 2-1. Close ball game there. Melville 10-3 down there. They beat Pattonville 9-2. Nixa won again 6-0. Webster Groves dropped one to Parkway South, close one 7-6. That's a difference in class there as well.
And Parkway South is rolling a little bit now too. They got an extremely talented roster led by the junior left-hander Brady Kellenbrink, committed to LSU. So that's definitely a team to have an eye on.
Absolutely. Willard lost to Republic down there in the Southwest. Washington keeps winning. They blanked Zumwalt North 8-0 yesterday. So Washington keeping on their winning ways. That one's going to be interesting to watch. Parkway West winning yesterday. Eureka 13-2 over Lindbergh. You were talking about them earlier. Yeah. So you're seeing some of these scores. Jeff City lost to Battle 12-11 yesterday. So that a little surprising there. Saw Battle in early tournament here. Fox winning 14-5. So that's some scores around there. Vianney and Chaminade, like I said, 1-1. So that's curious to see if that was just darkness, if it was, in that scenario.
Were there soccer teams playing each other? Did you mix in a soccer score on us?
0-0. There you go.
1-1 draw.
Oh, mercy sakes. That's good. Blair
Let's
O.
at least let them bang out a home run derby or something and break the tie.
Right. Hey, that's a good idea. I like that thought process. Duchesne. I've been following Duchesne a little bit locally here. 7-6 winner over St. Genevieve. They're 9-5, Class 4. They're Class 5. I'm sorry. They are Class 5. So I think that's looking forward to that, seeing what those guys can do there. I'm just looking to see where we're at. Hang on one second. I'm scrolling. St. Charles West 12-1 over North Point yesterday. So that was at St. Charles West. Big win for them. North Point 7-4, St. Charles West 7-6. So that'll be interesting to watch that next game coming up there. So there's a few scores. GAC, we've got some great opportunities there that way. I think it's going to be interesting the rest of the way down the road, Kevin.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt there will be lots of twists and turns that we do not foresee coming. That is for certain. That's the exciting part about Missouri high school baseball.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be a fun one. Looking forward to it. Folks, did I miss anything, Lauren? I don't think I missed anything, did I? My producer over there, she's keeping me in line, Kevin.
Hard to imagine you would miss something, Brian. So,
what did I miss, Lauren? Oh, yeah. We got our new shirts. Look at that. We'll have those out at the ballpark this Saturday. So we got some shirts, got some stuff. Since you brought that up, go to youthbaseballmidwest.com. Go to our merchandise store. We are partnered with our good friends over at Prime Sports Midwest. They put together our merchandise store for us. So please go on over. If you're a fan, we got some merchandise, some fan wear for you for Youth Baseball Midwest. Show your support. We appreciate it. We got all you subscribers. We got, I think, some cool stuff up there. We'd love to see those shirts, and we'll have these out at the ballpark and all that sort of jazz. How's that? Was that a good promo? All right. I'm hip, man. There you go. Kevin, you're going out to Valley Catholic. What's the rest of your week like schedule-wise? Who are you going to check out?
After tonight, I'm heading over tomorrow for the Columbia tournament, where I'll be the rest of the weekend. So,
Very good.
So excited for that. I'm going to catch a lot of – yeah, we'll be able to catch a lot of teams over there. So it'll be a good week for us.
Absolutely. So we'll see Kevin back at going to be out for the GAC Classic for our game of the week on Tuesday, and have a lot.
That's where I'll be next week. That's right. There we go.
Absolutely. So make sure you guys follow Kevin at PBR_Moulder. That's his. You can follow that on Twitter and Instagram, and then also there's PBR_. It's just PBR Missouri, isn't it? Yes.
Well, yeah.
No underscore on that. So those are Twitter and Instagram. Follow that. Check out everything that's happening with Prep Baseball Report in Missouri. I think these guys. I think you're seeing more and more stuff churn out. It's fantastic because, I mean, the talent level is just rising in Missouri. So, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Remember, if you're here, first time watching, hit that subscribe button. We're at 1,000. We appreciate it, and we're looking forward to more growth. We got our Friday Night Lights, first game of the year with Pattonville at St. Charles West. We'll be out there. That's a 4:15 start. Not quite the lights, but, it's high school baseball. We'll have some light.
The warmth, the sun, the warmth of the sun is also really important. Probably trumps being under the lights at this time of year.
I'm with you there. But we will be under some lights the next 2 Friday nights. We'll be out at Troy Buchanan. That's a 6:30 start, and then a 7 o'clock at Baldwin Athletic Complex for Webster Groves and Kirkwood. One near and dear to the heart of one Kevin Moulder. We ought to get – never mind. We'll do that later. Kevin, thanks as always, bud. Appreciate your time.
Always.
Everybody, thanks for tuning in. Have a great day in the Lord. All you pitchers, keep throwing strikes. Hitters, Kevin.
Hit them where they ain't.
It's always good advice. We'll see you all next time.